How's our financial plan coming?
Super! Chris, any advice?
With Western and Southern, preparing for your financial future can be easier than you think. Favorite receiver?
Huh?
To get started, visit westernsouthern.com.
All right, guys, let's talk about the Patriots. And let's maybe take a full look at this football team, because it's clear that they're now in a position where the defense is carrying this team. But lately, they've begun to leak oil. Maybe Tom Brady and the offense doesn't look like it used to be. So it begs the question, can this defense continue to carry Tom Brady and that offense through the second half of the season like they did in the earlier part of the year?
I mean, they probably have to. I mean, that's the thing, is like when you get into the AFC playoffs, we saw a season ago, New England's defense was tremendous, but they had to outscore the Chargers. They had to outscore the Kansas City Chiefs. And yeah, in the Super Bowl, they did a pretty good job of just doing enough offensively. But, you know, this AFC, when you look at it, you know, you're talking about Baltimore as an efficient offense. You're talking about Houston's an efficient offense, Kansas City as well. And so their defense is great, but their offense is going to have to put up enough if their defense, as you said, is going to be leaky through the first 13 games of the season. Only Buffalo has faced an easier group of offenses. So, we know less about their defense than we think. And as such, their offense is going to have to perform in the playoffs.
But this defense, Bruce, was really good during the first 8 weeks of the season. I mean, they were as dominant as can be, right?
Oh, no doubt. But you got to look at the quarterbacks they played, too, during those first.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, let's look at, you're playing the Jets, you're playing the Dolphins. Rosen was the quarterback at the time.
Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts, right?
Yeah. And not taking anything away from those quarterbacks, but young, experienced quarterbacks, Belichick tends to just crush, right?
That's right.
I mean, he just does a really good job game planning. The ones he struggles against is that athletic quarterback that you can't always know where they're going to be, and that's Deshaun Watson now. But what's interesting about this last game, it wasn't like Deshaun Watson athletically crushed them. I look at a few of the touchdowns, like the one touchdown to Duke Johnson out of the backfield, right? The Patriots in our 5-down defensive front. So the offensive line's like 5 down, the bear front, right?
Yeah.
Well, then the Patriots are going to blitz a linebacker and then expect Van Noy to this running back, Duke Johnson's not blocking me. He's getting out in the flat. So Van Noy's late in coverage. Boom, it's an easy touchdown. And then Darren Fells, his touchdown came off of, a flat play that they overload the one side. And I'm just surprised there was some mental bust by the Patriots defense. So it's not even like they're physically getting outplayed. It's just uncharacteristic of a Belichick defense to mentally bust some of those plays.
Well, let's put it into context, because those first 8 weeks, this Patriots secondary have garnered 19 interceptions, only gave up 2 touchdowns. Over the last 4 games, only 1 interception, and they've given up 6 touchdowns, emblematic of what we saw in that Sunday night game against Houston, where Watson just carved them up. He had 4 touchdowns against that group and really ate their man-to-man coverage alive.
Well, that shows the value of PFF data, because you can't just live on interceptions. You can't just live on sacks, because sacks are pretty noisy, right? You need to get pressure consistently, which they have to a degree, but they're not as great at pressure as some of the teams. And then interceptions, are basically luck. You have to have good coverage, and you can have good coverage for a long time without getting any interceptions. And we've seen that over the past few weeks.
That's good.
It was interesting what we saw on Sunday night. They stopped the run. I mean, Carlos Hyde averaged 1.7 yards per carry. They did get Houston into some long yardage situations, and Deshaun Watson, somewhat inconsistent at times, but he showed what his ceiling is, which is to be an elite level quarterback in the NFL. And we saw that from Lamar Jackson as well a couple weeks ago. And so those teams, you think about this week against Kansas City, that's another situation where, Patrick Mahomes along with Andy Reid is a great combo. It'll put a lot of stress on New England's secondary and their front seven to get pressure on.
But we've seen them struggle against quarterbacks who can move, quarterbacks who can extend plays and help receivers get open. But I thought going up against Houston, they really ran into a big problem, because not only could Watson buy a little bit more time, help the receivers uncover, but when they tried to go Stephon Gilmore on the Texans' best wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, Gilmore was still good, but Hopkins was a little bit better.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you're going to try to double cover Hopkins, then Kenny Stills he's living and eating the rest of those guys alive. Will Fuller, he made big plays. So we found out that beyond Gilmore, maybe the Patriots don't match up as well in that man-to-man coverage.
Well, and that's what Houston has missed for the last maybe decade or so as a tight end. Jordan Aiken and Darren Fells can make plays underneath the coverage.
That's right.
And then, of course, as you said, we're not even seeing Kiki Kuti make the types of plays that he was making last year. Mm-hmm. The addition of Kenny Stills, the health of Will Fuller. Fuller dominated Indianapolis just last week on Thursday Night Football. Yep. He takes a secondary role this week to Kenny Stills, and of course, Hopkins, is the best wide receiver in football. So they have a ton there. And, offensively, what we found is, Watson last season took the most pressure in the league. And this season, he's taken some sacks in some games, but his pressure rates have gone down.
Yeah,
and
he's
we've
done
seen
better.
the offense do a lot better as a result. I think Bill O'Brien deserves a lot of credit. He's gotten a lot of flack over the years, but I think he schemed up a pretty good game plan. And that shows, back to the New England defense, how tenuous it is to win with defense, because generally speaking, the offense dictates. You don't get to dictate as much defensively unless you're playing the Luke Falks and the Sam Darnolds of the world. You are sort of reacting to what an offense does, and when an offense is on its game, you're sort of at their mercy.
No, absolutely. And you just made a great point. Bill O'Brien. I mean, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. Look what they did last year, went on that run, what he's doing this year. And don't forget, Deshaun Watson is electrifying and does some magnificent things. But also there's games that Watson costs them games with those sacks, the sack fumbles, the turnovers. Mm-hmm. So Bill O'Brien, to manage that and understand the quarterback you have, that his ceiling, man, is unbelievable. But you're going to have some games that you got to manage some of his turnovers, and how can you still win those games? So I think Bill O'Brien's done a great job managing that offense in Watson's style of play. And I think the Patriots, too, their defense, sometimes you talk about man-to-man, but they start to, show that cover zero look. Everyone's close to the line of scrimmage. And when you're playing, some of this speed at wide receiver and explosive play by Hopkins, you can't get back to your landmark in time, and boom, Hopkins is downfield, 40 yards downfield.
Right.
And Watson just throws it up.
And there's just small weaknesses too, like Jason McCourty didn't play on Sunday night, and we just see that that's the issue, right? Like New England does such a great job because, they have Patrick Chung to erase the tight end. They have Deron Harmon in the middle of the field. They have Devin McCourty as the do-everything, superstar safety. Right. Gilmore is the lockdown on number one, but then you get, Watson out of the pocket, and now you got Kenny Stills against, I believe it was Jonathan Jones, who would be a rung down the ladder were the other McCourty playing. And that's, again, the issue with, defense versus offense. On offense, if your quarterback's healthy, you're normally good to go. If you're on defense, if you lose a defensive back or somebody to rush the passer or a linebacker, those cluster injuries cause some issues for a defense. And it's not that, New England went from being great defensively to awful, but they went from great to just vulnerable enough to get beat by a Houston
So the
team.
question is, can this defense continue to carry them? And do you need to get more out of Tom Brady and those receivers?
I think the answer is yes to both. I think that New England can certainly get the 1 seed in the AFC playing the way that they're currently playing, but in the AFC playoffs, they're going to need Brady to do more.
And I honestly think they have two very important but kind of nerve-wracking games when you're facing KC and the Bills. I'm telling you what, that Bills defense is going to get after Tom Brady. Yep. I'm telling you now.
They did the first game.
And I will not be surprised.
He's coming up. They're coming up.
And
the Bills are coming up again.
The only reason they beat the Patriots the first time because Josh Allen got knocked out at the end of the game. So it's like we're talking about Belichick against those athletic quarterbacks. You can't always plan to, understand where they're always going to be. Makes Belichick a little nervous. I'm telling you, the Bills and KC are 2 games possibly that New England can drop the last 4 weeks.
I have concerns for the Patriots moving forward. Yeah, they have Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs coming up. Yes, they have a date with the Bills coming up as well. But even if they get into the postseason, they may have to face Houston or Baltimore again. And they may have to go on the road for one, if not both, of those games. And so the real concern for me is that, okay, now, can you match up with those offenses? But right now, Tom Brady is almost like playing on an island. He doesn't have the receiver outside of Julian Edelman, who anyone can double cover and take him away. He doesn't have the receiver who can sight adjust post-snap. Bruce, you know how important that is. The quarterback is seeing one thing after the ball has been snapped, expecting a double move for the receiver, expecting the receiver to be at the spot where the quarterback is anticipating. But this group of receivers, they're not seeing it the same way that Tom is.
Well, people think there's a lot on a quarterback's plate, which there is.
Yeah.
There's a lot on a wide receiver. There's a lot on every player, right? Yep. As a wide receiver in this New England offense, you're not only worrying about where to line up, but you're like, okay, what's my split? What's the coverage? How many safeties? What's my adjustment if it goes to too high to one high? Post-snap, if it's man-to-man. So pre-snap, you're getting a look, trying to get lined up. You got shifts, you got motions. Now all of a sudden the ball snapped, and you're like, oh, the cornerback just bailed. This safety came down. It's not cover 2 anymore. Oh, my go route turned into a skinny post.
By then it's too late.
And that's why you see Tom Brady on the sideline
saying,
we got to play faster. Because if you're thinking too much, you're not playing fast enough. And those guys tend to play slow when you're overthinking.
Well, we've seen that with Aaron Rodgers, for example, when and you know this as well as anybody, when you're a quarterback and you don't trust the receivers, that's when you're seeing Brady. He held onto the ball the longest we've ever seen him on average this week.
Good point.
When you hit the back step of your drop and you don't trust that a receiver is going to be there, you're hesitating. Right? We've seen that at Rodgers' worst. He's back there just, he breaks a pocket when there's no pressure, all that kind of stuff. And it just makes for bad offense. Yeah. And, when you're Brady and you only really trust one guy, you hit your back foot and he's not open. And you're
it's a scary feeling.
Yeah, you're basically just scrambled drilling.
You don't want to be in that position.
and Brady had a good run the other day, but he's not that as athletic as Rodgers. So he's not going to break contain as well as anybody else.
Here's the reason why I don't see it getting fixed. They don't have a receiver who imposes a fear factor on the opposing defense. There's no receiver with this group, not even a Gronk, and not even Edelman, where the opposing secondary says, oh, I'm worried about this guy. Right. I think that's a concern for the Patriots. Versus the blitz, the data shows that the Patriots wide receiving core, they're tied for the second most drops, when the quarterback is being blitzed, than any wide receiving group in the National Football League. 13 drops in those situations.
And that's just overthinking what you have to do on the hot stuff.
Absolutely. So at the most critical times, when Brady needs the most, they're not there for him, and he's not a mobile guy that can get himself out of trouble.
And that is when drops happen. I mean, a lot of times people are like, man, that dude stinks. No, they're thinking about so much.
Stressing, right?
That the last thing they're thinking about is catch it, tuck it. No, they're thinking about, okay, now the ball's coming. Now what am I doing after the catch? And they're already turning.
Yeah, and it's not like playing catch in the backyard. This ball's on you before you're looking, right? And you turn and it's in your hands. And it's rough. I think the one solution that could work for them, and this has happened before with them historically, when they had Danny Amendola, he played in the slot, Edelman played on the outside. I think a good solution for them, and I haven't dug into how much they've done this, but play Edelman on the outside and have Mohamed Sanu play in the slot. Yeah. But they still need the tight end. They still need a tight end presence, and we saw the one play against Houston where they ran the seam pass to the tight end off play action. They need to see that more. I think Benjamin Watson, the only reason he came back this year was to be a part of that offense in such a way, and I don't know if he can do it, but they have to find something from that position.
I want to end it on this because I want to ask this question. How close are they to possibly making a deal with the devil and bringing in Antonio Brown? Because he would impose a fear factor.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't put anything past Belichick, especially this time of year.
That's right.
You're on the cusp, of I don't even want to say being great because you're already great, right? But making another run to the Super Bowl. And that's the one point I say, yes, they're about to face the Chiefs, but it's hard for me to bet against Belichick coming off a loss and then face, at home. I don't know. It's just too much right now. That's why
Would you sign Antonio Brown?
Oh, man. Yeah, I think so.
What about you, Eric?
I mean, at this point, if everything's cleared legally, you know what I mean? If that stuff's okay. But is he even able to play?
Given the state of the team.
Well, I would say I wouldn't personally, but I think Belichick probably would in the sense that all the other distractions on the team go away, and the whole focus is on Brown, and in some ways that makes the whole thing acute. And if they can manage that, then the rest of the stuff goes away.
Do you know who would be the most happy if
Brady.
the Patriots don't sign Antonio Brown, the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, the rest of the NFL.
Right.
Yeah, the rest of the NFL is assuming good faith out of Bill Belichick.
Absolutely, because after that, they know what comes next.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.